Picture this. You climb for 6 hours. Your legs are shaking. The air is thin. And finally, you reach a lake sitting at the top of a mountain, completely cut off from any river, any stream, any ocean. No road leads fish here. No water connects this lake to the world below. And yet, when you look into the water, you see them. Fish, swimming, living, thriving in a place they have no business being in. So here's the question that's been driving scientists crazy for centuries. How do fish actually get to the top of a mountain? Stick around, because the answer involves flying predators, deadly storms, and one tiny fish that can survive without water for months. Stay till the end, because the last part will completely change how you see the animal kingdom. Today, we're diving into one of nature's strangest survival mysteries. It's not about a lion chasing a zebra or a shark hunting a seal. It's about something quieter, something almost invisible, but just as ruthless. It's the story of how life finds a way into places that seem completely impossible to reach. And believe it or not, predators are at the center of this whole mystery. Let's set the scene. Imagine you're a fish egg. You're smaller than a grain of rice. You're floating in a shallow pond at the base of a mountain range. You have no legs, no wings, no way to move on your own. Your entire world is water, and without it, you die in minutes. Now, imagine a bird lands nearby. A heron, maybe, or a duck. It's not hunting you. It's just wading through the mud, looking for worms or insects. But your sticky little egg, covered in this natural glue-like coating, brushes against its leg. And just like that, you're stuck. You're now hitching a ride on a creature that's about to take flight. This is not a made-up story. This is one of the leading real explanations for how fish eggs travel across huge distances, sometimes over mountains, sometimes across entire countries. Birds that hunt near water, like herons, ducks, and geese, wade through fish nests without even realizing it. Sticky eggs cling to their feathers and legs. Then the bird takes off, flies for miles, lands in a completely different body of water, maybe a lake sitting 3,000 meters above sea level, and shakes itself off. The eggs drop into the new water. If conditions are right, they hatch. A brand new fish population begins, in a lake that had no fish the day before. Now, here's where it gets even wilder. Let's talk about the scientific reason this actually works, in plain, simple terms. Fish eggs from certain species are built like tiny survival capsules. Think of them like seeds. A seed can survive being carried by wind, buried in soil, even eaten and pooped out by an animal, and still grow into a plant later. Fish eggs from hardy species work almost the same way. Their outer shell is tough, almost rubbery, and it can handle being dried out, frozen, or bounced around for hours without dying. Some eggs can literally pause their own development, like hitting a pause button on life, and wait for water again before continuing to grow. Scientists call this survival trick diapause, but you don't need to remember that word. Just think of it as a fish egg going to sleep and waking back up the moment it touches water again. But birds aren't the only way fish make this incredible journey. Let's talk about the sky itself turning into a highway. Massive storms, tornadoes, and waterspouts have been recorded picking up small fish, frogs, and other tiny creatures from lakes and rivers, carrying them for miles through the air, and then dropping them somewhere completely different. This isn't folklore. This has been documented in real weather events for over a century. Reports of literal fish rain have come from places like Honduras, where a small town called Yoro has reported fish falling from the sky after intense storms almost every year. So often that they now hold a yearly festival about it. Scientists believe the fish are sucked up from nearby water sources by violent updrafts, and then dumped miles away when the storm loses strength. So next time it rains fish in a legend or a documentary, know that there's real physics behind that madness. Now let's zoom out and think about why this matters so much for survival. In the wild, being isolated is dangerous. A pond that dries up in summer or a lake that freezes solid in winter can wipe out an entire fish population in one bad season. But if that population has already spread eggs to 5, 10, 20 other water sources through birds, floods, and storms, then the species survives even if one location fails. This is nature's version of not putting all your eggs in one basket, except here, it's literally about eggs. Predators, like birds that eat fish without meaning to, spread them, are accidentally acting like nature's delivery service, keeping species alive across huge, disconnected areas. Let's go even deeper into the layers of this mystery, because there's another twist. Some fish don't need eggs to hitch a ride at all. Certain tough, adaptable species like killifish and some types of catfish can survive short periods completely out of water, as long as their skin or gills stay damp. During flash floods, these fish get swept out of their home pond, carried across land through temporary streams, and dropped into a brand new body of water once the flood settles. It sounds almost impossible, a fish traveling over land, but during a flood, temporary rivers form in places that are normally dry, turning solid ground into highways of water for just a few hours. That's more than enough time for a determined fish to end up somewhere completely new. And then there's the human factor, which honestly might be the most surprising piece of the puzzle. For hundreds of years, people have intentionally carried fish up mountains to stock lakes for fishing. Explorers, settlers, and later wildlife agencies would hike up with buckets, backpacks, even small planes, and release fish into high-altitude lakes that never had fish before. In some of the most extreme documented cases, government agencies have literally used airplanes to drop fish, along with water, directly into remote mountain lakes from the sky. So in a strange twist, humans have become one of the biggest predators turned caretakers in this story. Not to hunt these fish, but to place them somewhere new entirely. So when you put it all together, a fish reaching the top of a mountain isn't magic. It's a combination of sticky eggs clinging to unaware birds, violent storms turning the sky into a river, floods creating temporary highways across dry land, tough eggs that can pause their own life and wait, and even humans carrying buckets up steep trails. Every single one of these paths involves something dangerous, something wild, something that looks completely ordinary on the surface, but hides an incredible survival story underneath. Here's the powerful part. This whole mystery is really a lesson about life itself. Life doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't need a clear path or an easy way forward. It hitches rides, it pauses and waits, it survives storms, and it finds a way into places that seem absolutely impossible. The next time you look at a quiet mountain lake and see fish swimming peacefully at the top of the world, remember, that fish's ancestors survived a journey more extreme than most creatures on Earth will ever face. Think about what that means for a second. Somewhere, a heron waded through shallow water without noticing a single egg stuck to its leg. Somewhere, a storm ripped across a valley and dragged a fish into the clouds. Somewhere, a flood turned a dusty field into a river for just one afternoon, and a fish used that window to escape. None of these events were planned. None of them were guaranteed to work. But across thousands and thousands of years, enough of them succeeded that entire lakes at the top of the world are now full of life. That's not luck in the way we usually think about luck. That's persistence, played out across an almost unimaginable stretch of time, until the odds finally tipped in favor of survival. So here's your takeaway. Fish don't reach mountain lakes because it's easy. They reach them because life on this planet refuses to stay in one place, refuses to give up, and always finds a way through, even when the way forward seems completely closed off. And honestly, that's not just a fish story. That's a survival story worth remembering.